Right, Nisha, shall we talk about some weapons?
Sure, yeah.
You don't look too enthused.
I don't know that much about weapons. So it depends what kind of weapons we're talking about. That I probably add some... What's the word? Words have already escaped me, so it's a good start.
Excellent start. What I did was I've reached out to people on Twitter, on Patreon, and on Discord. I asked them to suggest for me the most powerful weapons in fiction. But there was a caveat that I did not tell everybody. And that was that I wasn't looking through this list to find the most powerful. I was looking through the list to find the weapons that made me do a double take. I wanted stupid weapons, like ones where you read the description, you're like, what? And you have to look into it more because it's so daft. So what I've done is I've chosen 10. I've got a list of 10 here, and I've done a little bit of research into what they're supposed to do. And what I'm going to do is share them with you now, and we're going to have a little bit of a laugh about how ridiculous and ludicrous some of these things actually are. So we're going to begin with a item from the Ben 10 universe. Have you watched Ben 10?
Nope.
Me neither. But so according to all of the lore, the most powerful thing it seems to be the Omnitrix, which is the little wristband that Ben 10 wears that allows him to transform into other things.
Oh, okay. Is he not the one... Oh, no, I'm thinking of Bernard's watch. I was like, is he not the one who stops time? That's Bernard's watch,
that's Bernard's watch. God, Bernard's watch always confused me as a kid. Because, I was always like, what if he's not in the right position when he restarts the watch and he just teleports? And, there was also the fact that there was some sort of guard, postman character that used to appear when he misused the watch. He got stuck in a time loop once, and this, time guardian turned up to fix it. Anyway, the Omnitrix is not the thing I want to talk about. Somebody suggested an item, and I'm going to read out its full name, because when I went on the article and saw this, I was like, okay, I have to give this a go. So it's called the Annihilar Genesistoria Themiorgost.
What?
So they call it the Annihilar for short, by the looks of it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, because that is certainly a mouthful. But the reason why I love this one so much is because of how basic it is for what it supposedly does. So the description of it is that it's a purple box with a red button inside.
Right.
That's literally all it is. It's like a tiny little box, and you open it and there's just a button in it. But what this does is that when you press the button, it will either destroy the universe you're in, or create a universe if you're not in one.
So it's like 50-50 chance.
Well, it depends. If you're not in a universe, it makes one. If you are in a universe, it gets rid of it.
If you're not in a universe, why would you not be in a universe?
I'm pretty sure Ben 10 gets weird. I've not watched it, but considering that apparently the universe gets destroyed, Ben 10 recreates the universe, but there's a drink that doesn't taste the same, and he wears a different colour hoodie. I was trying to read a little bit more into this, but it just made so little sense.
The multiverse of Ben 10.
Yeah, but apparently this thing was initially destroyed because somebody stood on it. So this is why I wanted to pick it. It's a little purple box that can destroy or create universes, but it breaks if you stand on it.
So it's a little bit flimsy.
Yes.
I kind of want to see it. I just want to see that weapon in use now.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. I like multiverse sort of stuff, so...
Well, there were a lot of suggestions from things that just destroy universes. And the only reason I picked this one is because of how daft the actual design and, structure of it is.
Those guards on Metal Gear Solid would say, oh, it's just a box.
Just a box.
Of that.
You wouldn't think anything of it, would you? I'd press that button.
It's just a box. Ooh, or do a DD and be like, oh, what does this button do? I don't know if you ever watched Dexter's Lab or not.
I didn't watch Dexter's Lab, no.
You didn't? Oh, okay. You won't get that reference.
Somebody will, I imagine. So the second one on my list comes from Gundam. Have you watched Gundam?
I've never heard of it.
I've heard of it, I've never watched it. There is a device in Gundam called the Angel Halo. And so, I'm going to preface this by saying there's a lot of word salad in these descriptions because they're written for people who understand the universe and I don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and scan through and just pick out the bits that make sense. So the Angel Halo is a fortress that is surrounding a ship, and apparently it hovers in orbit around Earth, or at least that's when they used it. It was in orbit around Earth. And it says that it is a Psycommu fortress. But what I think
that word means.
What I think it means in layman's terms is that it's full of psychics. And
okay.
the way it's used is that it has the power to cause every human on planet Earth to fall asleep, like into a coma, for a year. And then when they're in a coma, it then lands on Earth and causes everybody to prematurely age and die.
Why? What's the point of this?
I think it was made by someone trying to get rid of the human race, I would guess.
Okay, it's like a villain sort of. Well, I mean, I guess most weapons are usually in the hands of villains, aren't they?
There are a couple on this list that end up in the hands of good guys, but I think, from what I can tell, it's literally a massive mind control spaceship that puts everybody on the planet to sleep and then makes them grow old and die very quickly.
Strange. I wasn't expecting that.
See, that's the point. It's the double take. I want to read these out and for people to go, wait, what?
Because I know it's a weapon, but at the start I was expecting some sort of shield. It sounded a bit like a shield or something.
Yeah, well, it's because it's got the word Halo in it, and it implies that it's protective.
Like it's a protective thing, yeah.
But anyone who's played Halo, the game, will know that just because something's called Halo doesn't mean it's good.
Are you ready for Halo Reach?
Ready doesn't even fucking describe it.
Ready doesn't even fucking describe it!
I can't hear Halo Reach without hearing that.
I know.
I'll have to put a clip in. So, on to the third one. So, Doctor Who. Have you watched it?
Never really got into it. I've seen it a bit, like snippets, but it was one of those series that I was just like,
Well, this particular weapon is from a Doctor Who episode that I've watched. So I was aware of it, and I was aware what it did, but the description is very funny. So this is called the Reality Bomb. And so this is made by the Daleks, and what they did was they basically kidnapped, I think, 26 planets in order to make it run. So they teleported planets from around the galaxy into one spot, and they used it to power the weapon. And what the weapon would then do is that everything outside of it would then be... So, a jargon here. What it does is it cancels out the electric field that holds together atoms. Which means that everything in the universe that is held is like everything made of atoms, which is everything, falls apart. And the only thing that's left is the Dalek race!
It's just floating
That's
in space.
the only thing that remains.
The Dalek race floating in space.
Well, that's their ultimate goal. Like, the Daleks want to eliminate all life that isn't Dalek. Because they think, despite the fact that they're just these like globs of DNA matter and shit, like they think they're the dominant race. The next one, I'm gonna have a real trouble getting through this.
Yeah.
The Super Tengan Topper Gurren Lagann.
No idea.
So it translates as the Super Heaven Piercing Gurren Lagann. I don't know anything about this series either, but what it sounds like is that it is essentially an enormous mech created from energy that is piloted by a bunch of the characters from this. I don't know if it's an animation or a manga or something. Mm-hmm. It's 66 times taller than its previous form, which I also assume was massive. But here are the interesting parts. So, its speed is incalculable.
So it's just so fast.
It's so fast. The moment that the clash occurs, it travels approximately half the length of the Giga Drill. So it has this weapon that's like, I can't remember the description, but it's very big, and it's
a big weapon.
it's like this light drill that comes out of its hand. This is the thing, like it's really funny to talk about things you have no idea what we're talking about, because there's going to be fans in the comments like, no, this is what it is. This is what it does.
We don't know.
We have no idea. But apparently this thing has 11 dimensions. So it can move freely through all 11 dimensions. So that means it basically transcends distance and time.
At incalculable speeds.
Yes. And it also possesses the powers of infinite multiverses.
It's another multiverse.
You're going to notice a theme here. It's going to be multiverses and it's going to be black holes. Mm-hmm. These are the two things that people keep bringing up as these ridiculous weapons.
Yeah, because they're the sorts of things that destroy and create life, so
yeah,
you can't really top that. It's kind of like the wikis that we cover. It's just the characters just get ridiculous. Like,
it's the thing.
are just
It's
OP.
I think what's called power creep, isn't it? It's the idea that as something exists for a certain amount of time, that you eventually have to go to the next level and the next level and the next level, and it gets too powerful. And that's, I think, a lot of the time, that's what I think these things are. Like, Doctor Who has been running for, 50 years? Nearly 60 now, I think. Which means, if they're going to do, a big finale, it's got to be reality-destroying. Like, they've done it multiple times. I think Matt Smith's first tenure was destroying the universe.
Well, it's like in Supernatural. They just got ridiculous as well.
Yeah, well, I was going to mention the cult later on, because I'm going to be talking about another gun. The next one is from Star Trek Voyager, so something a bit more familiar. Do you watch a lot of Star Trek?
I've seen it. I've seen the old early 2000s, late 90s, because my dad used to watch it. So I was kind of stuck watching it. So I'm familiar with it. I just don't really like it.
So there's a ship in Star Trek Voyager designed by the Krenim, and apparently it can remove the targets from time and space. So,
just delete people,
yeah, basically,
in Photoshop, you just delete someone.
It removes them so they never existed because it alters the timeline, and they call it a temporal incursion. The idea is that they're actually changing history by removing something so it never existed, and they can use it to rewrite things in a way that, they can take an area of space and rewrite it with the weapon so that they're then in charge of that area and not the people they were fighting.
That's never going to end well.
No,
never change history.
Well, it's funny. It's funny you mention that. The first time they used it, it created a plague that wiped out 50 million of their own species.
See.
And then the second time they used it, the person who invented it, it removed his wife from existence.
See, don't change time.
Yeah, no, don't mess with time. This is the whole go back in time and kill Hitler thing. Everyone always says it would be the first thing they would do would be go back in time and kill Hitler, but you would change everything. Mm-hmm. And obviously I'm not saying that it would be a better or a worse future, but you also have to be aware of the fact that everything that came after that was a cause and effect situation.
Yeah.
But this thing it sounds just beyond comprehension, especially for Star Trek, which, despite the fact that it's a science fiction show, always at least tries to have some kind of grounding in real science. So I'm not quite sure how this weapon works. Maybe it doesn't remove it from existence. Maybe it transports the ship you're in into another dimension where that thing isn't there.
So another multiverse thing there.
Exactly, yeah. If there is if the idea of the multiverse exists in Star Trek, because they do have different timelines. The timeline that the films exist in, the new films, is different to the original timeline. So maybe there's a timeline where this society, this civilization, did control these planets.
It's interesting to hear about these different weapons, even though they are kind of all similar in a way at the minute. So I'm waiting for a complete contrast, I guess.
Well, you're not going to get it for the next one. The dual black hole cannon from Zeele's sequence. So I've never heard of this. Never heard of it. But apparently what the cannon does is it shoots two black holes that will hit each other at a certain point in space and then create a huge gravitational effect that will destroy things around it.
Just shoot black holes at each other.
But yeah, the idea will be, because the black holes are obviously something that not even light can escape. So if you shoot two of them so they collide, then where they collide is where this big black hole will form. So that's how that weapon apparently works. So I wrote down a few more things that exist in this particular universe because I wanted to talk about them. So there is something called a CTC processor, which is a computer that time travels. And what it does is it spends years, centuries, millennia, whatever it is, figuring out the perfect solution to a problem, and then it sends that answer back in the past.
Oh, okay. That's
so
cool.
with technology like that, how do you lose a fight?
Yeah.
How is there even a conflict? You can find the perfect solution. You have as much time as you want and get it immediately because you have time travel. I'm sure someone will tell me why it's not perfect. It's
still messing with time.
It is messing with time.
So there is
as we've warned all of you in the comments, who all of you viewers watching, who I know are time travelers. How's the future? Is it better than now? Because now's a bit shit.
I know a band that went to the year 3000.
Oh, cool. What was it like?
Not much changed. They just live underwater.
Oh. Did you meet anyone you knew? Any relatives?
Great granddaughter. I can't do it with a straight face.
Oh, God.
She's pretty fine.
Oh, is she? The next one is a series I've heard of, and I tried to watch the show, but it's from Preacher. And
I've heard of that one, yeah.
The name is the Omni Deadly Guns.
Ooh, I wonder what they are.
So the guns are a pair of Colt 1847 walkers, and are able to kill any individual, despite their circumstance or their power. So they're basically like we were saying the supernatural Colt, except these ones don't have limits, whereas the supernatural ones, there are supposedly 5 things that can't be killed. And there is big debate in the supernatural community as to what those 5 things actually are. We know that one of them is an archangel, but is it all archangels or just Lucifer? And so does that mean that the 5 things he's talking about are the 4 archangels and then maybe God?
Yeah. So, I mean, God, there is the God gun that exists. That's a separate thing, isn't it?
Yeah, the equalizer.
That's it.
Yeah. Again, another extremely powerful weapon that can kill anything, but the damage that you deal to something else is inflicted on you. Hang on, wait, what? If the saint, who I think is the guy who wields them, if he heats up the hammers, the gun becomes so powerful the bullet can drill a hole from one end of the earth to another, straight through the center. Please tell me.
What?
Please tell me that in this universe, this person shot somebody through the earth. Because that is cool. That needs to have happened.
Like that, yeah.
Imagine someone's like on the other side of the planet, like, don't worry, I'm safe. He can't get me. He's on the other side of the earth, and he's just like, no, bitch, straight through the crust, all the way through the planet. Yes.
Yeah, I would like to see that scene.
Oh wow! If that scene doesn't exist, we should do it. Make it into a skit. The next one is I was going to say a little more down to earth, but it's really not. It's from the DC universe. This one is called the Miracle Machine.
Does it perform miracles?
It does perform miracles. So if you are within range of it, it sounds like an SCP. If you're within range of it, anything you think becomes real.
Ooh.
So it was locked away because anything you think becomes real. I don't think you have control over it. So they
that's quite scary, to be fair.
Yeah, they had to seal it away because the idea of like you having just a stray thought would cause something catastrophic to happen. So it was locked away for all time and switched off. Apparently, it's got an off switch. It was switched off and locked away for all time in a block of inertron.
What the hell is that?
A made-up word that means that things can't get through it.
Of course.
Yeah, inertron. It's like unobtainium, isn't it? In Avatar, they're like, we need to get unobtainium. It's like, well, it's not unobtainium.
Oh, is that's where it's from? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not seen Avatar in a long time.
It's on Disney Plus, I think.
Is it?
Unobtainium, despite the fact he's got a fucking rock of it on his desk. Like, it's not unobtainium, it's almost unobtainium. Hard to get to you.
But yeah, but no, yeah, it does sound like an SCP.
Yeah, because they have to lock it away because it's anomalous. They can't guarantee the effects of it.
So now I'm thinking maybe you should ask people for like the weirdest SCPs.
Oh, that is a good idea for the next one. We'll do that. I guess
many.
We'll say that now. So yeah, there's thousands of SCPs. In the comments, what are the strangest SCPs? The ones that just batshit crazy ones. That's what I want to hear. Because everyone's heard of the ones that are in like the various games and things. We all know about 173. We all know about Shy Guy. We know about Radical Larry. Yeah, there was one SCP where it's like a room that if you walk into it, you disappear, and every part of you that exists gets turned into furniture. Like, there's some really weird...
It's like some Beauty and the Beast shit going on there.
When I say furniture, I mean literally parts of you become furniture. Like, there's a bone chandelier, the tables and furniture and things are all made from body parts, the carpet and walls are made from skin and flesh.
Oh, so you don't look like furniture, it actually looks like human body parts.
You are dismantled and turned into pieces of furniture. That's one of the SCPs that I saw. So I want stuff like that. That's the good stuff. Scour the archive.
And get me in for that one.
Yes. Right, so we're getting down to the last two now, and I've saved these two to last because I like them the most. These are the most fun. So, we have one from Warhammer 40k, which I don't know much about. I played a little bit of it, but I don't know much about the universe. And it's called the Celestial Orrery. What is an orrery?
What does that mean?
So this is located at the heart of Necron Oroskar Dynasty's crown world of Thanatos.
Just these words are just like straight through, like what?
But what this thing is, it is a replica on the, like it's like a holographic replica of the entire galaxy. So you can see like all the stars and everything represented with like little spots of light and things. And you know, to the uneducated observer, it might just look like a star chart that you would use to navigate. But apparently it is somehow connected to the entire galaxy. And if you do anything to the table, it does it to the actual galaxy.
Oh, that's cool.
So the idea behind it is like the people who control it, where they will interfere in the like the universe, but they have to do it extremely carefully, because if you just remove one planet or one star, it will alter like the gravitational effects around it and cause a butterfly effect, which might destroy the whole universe. So
if like one of the guys, whoever is in charge of it, just like goes and pokes the Earth, would it just create a massive earthquake or something?
I'm not sure in what form it would take. I don't know if like a huge finger shape would just appear in the planet.
A massive finger coming from the sky, like.
I don't think you won't be able to see it, but it would just create like a finger-shaped hole all the way through the planet. But I don't know if it's like that one-to-one, or whether it's like it would just cause the planet to explode. Like maybe it might affect like an energy field around the planet rather than the planet itself. Like the way it explains it here is that it says if you snuff out the light, the physical counterpart will go supernova. So it causes the thing to become unstable, I think, is the description. Imagine if you fell on the table. Just,
I don't know why that's really funny.
Yeah, you're just casually like observing. You know, you're one of the people in charge of looking after it, making sure nobody attacks it, and you trip over and half the galaxy is gone.
Never leave me in charge of the galaxy. I would do that.
And then you just sweep it under the table like nothing happened. Just like when you break a cup and you're like, no, it wasn't me. Just kick it under the table.
And the boss comes in like, what happened to Venus? Venus? What Venus?
Why is a quarter of the galaxy missing? Must have been Ted. He was on shift earlier. I saw him being weird.
It was like that when I got here.
Okay, the last one is my personal favourite. It's not that powerful. It's pretty powerful, but it's not that powerful. I mean, reading the second paragraph is a little powerful, but it's not as powerful as some of the other ones we've talked about. It doesn't alter all reality. But it's from D&D, so D&D, the role-playing system, and the role-playing universe, obviously, and it's called the Sphere of Annihilation. So, it is a 2-foot black sphere, which is basically a hole in the universe. And it's hovering there, stabilised by a magical field. And whatever it passes through, it obliterates all matter that it passes through. So is it like hovering around constantly? Well, this is the best part. So when I was first reading this bit, I was like, well, this isn't particularly interesting. The sphere is stationary until someone controls it.
Remote control.
In this universe, if you are a magic caster, you can control the sphere. So you can walk around with a little black hole that you can push through things and they'll disappear.
Just imagine it like a drone. Oh no! I've lost control of my black hole. It just goes back home.
Well, if you say lost control of a black hole, it's like a dog or something that gets off its lead.
Well, no, because like
it's like phantom. It's like black hole.
I've seen it where people are like trying to control the drones and they obviously lose control and they lose connection and then they just fly back home.
It's gonna hit someone in the head in a few miles. Someone's going to be out having a walk, just looking at nature, and his head's just going to disappear.
Gets stuck in a tree, and then the tree disappears. That sounds cool.
Yeah, that's why it's my favourite. It's just this tiny little sphere that causes damage to everything it touches. And everyone's like, oh, it's mine. My sphere. I'm going to push it into things. I don't know if you create it or if it just exists, because it can be destroyed. According to the stuff, it can be destroyed. So it might be that the casters have the power to make it, which I think is less fun. If you can't make it, if you just have to find one and play with it.
It's not like that's the only one that exists, because that makes it funnier.
I think
just after this one black hole.
I think it would be better if there was literally one in the universe and everybody wanted to play with it. So measure it like a ball. Everyone wants to play with it.
It's cute. But then someone's dog gets hold of it. Runs away with the black hole. Phantom!
Phantom!
Just chasing the black hole.
Yeah, no, that's 10 powerful weapons that make you do a double take. The loose idea behind this episode. Yeah, like, I never would have found any of these things, for the most part, without asking for contributions. And some of them are hilarious. And hopefully I can find more, like, something I might ask people about, stories that happen in their life. We can ask people about, their favourite videos on YouTube. Like, the idea will be that if you get a lot of people answering a lot of these questions, then you get this mix of things that you would never otherwise get to look at. And also the viewers watching this now will get to experience through us, because I'll try and put some pictures and stuff in of these things. They get to experience through us these things that they also may never have come across. And who knows, it might get them into a particular universe or a particular thing.
No, I want to watch Ben 10 now.
Yeah, it does sound very over the top. Yeah, but I guess the next one for me and Nisha will be the SCP one. So if people want to suggest SCPs in the comments, let us know what SCPs are. Like, I want the weirdest of the weird. I don't just want basic, something will destroy something, or it creates something, or it makes people act this way. I want the ones that are utterly bizarre. The strangest ones you can find. Like
ones that just don't make any sense, or it's like, why do they exist?
Yeah. How can they exist? There are thousands of them, and I'm not going to get a chance to read through them all. Even the people in the comments aren't going to get a chance to read through them all. There is no doubt somebody has mentioned at least one to you, which is completely weird. And that's what a good idea of crowdsourcing information is. Because it means that these videos are going to be a collective creation of everybody who wants to try and contribute. Because then we can all learn these things that we may otherwise not have learned. Like, we could even do one where we just say to somebody, what's a strange statue in your town? And they can literally go and take a picture of a statue and send it to us. And these are statues that may otherwise never get seen by the world. But I also don't have a name for the series, so give me a suggestion for that as well.
Try and think of pun names.
Yes, anyway, that's us done. Subscribe to Untitled side channel to see more content. Like, we're all trying new things, so this series may go on for 1,000 episodes. I may only do 2 or 3, depending on the feedback. We've all got a bunch of other ideas we're going to be doing as well, so subscribe and you get to sort of be part of the process of us figuring out, I guess who we are outside of FactFiend is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. Because obviously we've been editing for one channel for so long. It's time that we can spread our wings and do our own thing. So we want people to tell us. We want people to help us figure out, what we want to do, what kind of people we want to be.